I was going through the tweets that were also there. I'm also shortly going to be joined by Dr. Abhishek Singhvi, who's also spoken very candidly about how the doyen of the bar was there. Dr. Singhvi is going to join us as an eminent jurist. He also wrote about Fali sir, and as a media personality, and I follow him very, very closely. He's also now tweeted about it. He's tweeted very beautifully about what Fali sir meant for him. I'm just waiting to see if we've got him online with us now.
I can hear you, Rhythm. I'm here.
All right. Yes, sir. Sir, if you could just, I just saw your tweets. If you could speak a little bit, sir, and share with us your memories with Fali, sir.
There are many, Rhythm, but just to give you a few quick examples, there was a mill land case, so-called, in Mumbai. You cannot imagine the stakes involved there because all of the prime property within Mumbai was at one time mill land, Parel, and here and there, everywhere, which is now the heart of Mumbai. So the proposal went that you should be able to change the use, stop the mill use, put it to other commercial use, and shift if there is any functioning mill outside Delhi. It involved almost the 10 top industrialists, and the figure ran into mammoth, unbelievable numbers, beyond billions, I would say. I was fortunate enough to be engaged as a lead counsel in Mumbai, and opposing me was Chaglaji. It was opposed on environmental grounds and other building bylaws grounds. The division bench of Mumbai High Court, that is 2 judges, heard me. I was in Mumbai for more than 2 weeks, both of us arguing on opposite sides. But ultimately, we lost that case. The conversion and the transfer was not allowed. The matter came to the Supreme Court, had to come, and the entire galaxy of top lawyers was engaged because the stakes were very high for the mill owners or the landowners. Those engaged included Fali Nariman as the lead, Soli Sorabji, Anil Diwan, Ashok Desai, and of course a large number of other persons. Now it is interesting that Fali right in the beginning said, look, Abhishek knows this case better than anybody else, he must open. I was the first to protest. I said, you're embarrassing me, how can I open with such seniors? This is like 20 years ago when I was a much younger man. And I'm quite happy if any of you choose amongst yourselves to open the matter. And it's such high stakes. Fali insisted. And everybody else fell in line, all agreed, and I was given the honor of opening such a high stakes matter. The result, ultimately we won that. That doesn't matter. The point is, here was the objectivity of a person. And remember, our bar can be and is a very jealous profession sometimes, depending on the individual. It's also a very competitive profession. So this magnanimity and largeness of heart is something which is very special. A second thing I, of course, remember about him is always the habit of calling a spade a spade. He would never hesitate. He knew that if something is so and so, there is no need or use to mince words. And he always stuck to his principles unwaveringly, right from the time he resigned during the emergency, and never hesitated to speak his mind. As a after-dinner speaker and a raconteur, I think Fali was matchless. I have wasted a whole lifetime trying to partially emulate him in my various speeches, unsuccessfully. But, he had this turn of phrase. He would research into the origin of something and then connect it with his matchless wit. I remember when he said that when you talk of horse trading, when humans defect, you are doing a great insult to horses who are otherwise very loyal animals. There are many more examples like that. His son is a remarkably brilliant pair of father and son, both fiercely independent, especially Rohinton, whom I always tell a little over-independent, so to say. But Fali and Rohinton definitely was closer to his mother, is closer to his mother, who passed away some time ago. But Fali would never impose, not that Rohinton is imposable, but he would never impose himself in any way. He would have a quiet dignity of guiding, of nudging very subtly, but yet was so proud when Rohinton accepted judgeship. Of course, I told him, I said, you're such a flourishing practice and you will unfortunately retire at number 2 and not become Chief Justice. I'm not sure why you should accept it. But he said he wanted to contribute to law and research and jurisprudence. And Fali was so proud, but in a very subtle, unostentatious, non-imposable manner. So all in all, this is an era of persons who I think don't really exist now. They are either non-existent or they are teetering on the verge of extinction. But it is always great to have these memories and to have also role models and ideals to emulate. Not only for each one of us, but especially for the youngest parts of the bar and those who are yet to join this profession.
Sir, like always, Dr. Singhvi, you speak with the great eloquence, and you've also given us some nuggets of moments that you shared with him, whether you talk about the Mills case, whether you talk about how he was and how beautiful the relationship between him and his son was, whether he was closer to his mother, but how, as a father, Fali Nariman never imposed and always nudged him gently. Dr. Singhvi, personally, we've always seen Fali sir over the last many decades, always very sure of himself, a constitutional expert. I remember in the Bhopal case, he also told me that he regretted taking on the case for Union Carbide. I mean, someone as humble as him, sitting in the corridors, quietly reading his briefs, as a young lawyer, he encouraged you. How do you think his achievements will be going down in history? Because personally for us, I think what we're going, like I read your tweet, it's the end of an era. Personally, because this kind of a generation of advocates is very rare to come across again.
Well, I think if you were to sum it up in one line, they don't make them like this anymore. It's as simple as that. He was a living legend, well in his lifetime, quite early on. And there's no doubt about it that you may call him a legend, but he's very much a living legend. So you can imagine what will happen when that time passes on and he has now passed on in history. If there can be a super legend, then this is Fali Nariman, in line with other very few names like Nani Palkiwala. So I think that is ultimately the matter of greatest satisfaction for those who pass on and for the family and for others like us who have seen them. Because it is these deeds, these reputations, these events which you remember, not other things. And I had the privilege of having a lot of his affection. He was always very warm, very solicitous. He was very proud when I did well. I've already given the example of how he went out of the way to do something which is unheard of in the legal profession, quite frankly, where pettiness sometimes come to the fore. I think these are all elements and qualities which all of us, especially the younger lot, have to emulate. I do believe that the profession from where it was at my father's time or Fali's time has become narrower, more petty, more, not more competitive only in the positive sense, but more competitive in the petty sense. And I would really very much like, we are now in the older generation and going to be passing on to other stages soon, but I would very much like that magnanimity which I saw as a young lawyer amongst, peers in the bar like Fali, my father, Soli, and the others, that degree of large-heartedness, which is the crux of the whole profession, I hope and wish that returns to some measure at least.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Singhvi, for joining us, for giving us those enlightened moments that you had with the constitutional legal eagle. Like you said, the legal world mourns the loss of the legal legend. Sir, before I let you go, just a final question I want to ask you. His last few lectures spoke about the freedom of press. He's always been a constitutional expert who stood against the emergency. His political, there was no political alignment except a fierce love, loyalty towards the Constitution.
When he was nominated to the Rajya Sabha, I joked with him, although he was older than my father, but we shared a very good relationship. I said, Fali, I am astonished that you are nominated because you will be a true nominated member, but true nominated members are not supposed to be nominated. That's what I told him. Because you will speak your mind. I am quite surprised how the political class will tolerate you. This is the exact conversation I had. But he just smiled and grinned, and he went on to precisely fulfill my prophecy. He never hesitated to speak his mind. He spoke frequently against the Congress which nominated him. He spoke on issues honestly. And that is really the true hallmark of the tradition in which these constitutional posts or positions have been made. I don't think any of it is followed in letter or spirit, or hardly any of it is followed in letter or spirit today. But the kind of servility and lack of objectivity we find, if you contrast it with Fali's clear-headedness and objectivity, irrespective of his appointing authority, so to say, and his commitment to issues, not to just persons, or, of course, certainly not to a party, I think that is something which is exemplary, and I'm now speaking only of the public life part, not the law part.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Singhvi, thank you for being with us as today we not only mourn the passing away of the legal legend, but also celebrate his career of spanning over 70 years and the man that he was. Senior Advocate Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi joining us on this. Thank you for being with us.